Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mama Vic channel. Now, first of all, I'd like to thank all the people that help to that contribute to my dopamine feel. All the people that contribute to this channel, all the people that comment, everyone that likes, uh, any engagement, whether sharing the content of this channel, any kind of feedback, positive or negative, it's always appreciated because it helps me improve in my research and the way I report the things that I talk about here. Now, first of all, today we're going to skim through the prices here, but then we're also going to talk about the what's currently going on in the United States as regards the bill, that's the overfloating bill, this thing that this overlooming legislation that everyone is talking about, everyone is looking at. So just in case, it's not going to be a very opinionated view, but just in case you haven't heard about it, I'm going to be talking about it here shortly. Then I'm going to be talking about a few other things that I think are, helping us tie those strings together to try and to create a comparison between the news and what is actually happening, at least in the best way that we can, with the little information that we have. So first of all, we see here Bitcoin has been on a crazy tear. Bitcoin has seen a reversal in its trend. It crossed below the $30,000 mark. So far, it has done that twice in the past probably month or so. And we saw it do this reversal in the trend all the way to, I think it went up to 47,000 yesterday. After the Ethereum upgrade, we saw an increased interest. I think there's been a lot of people out there really being major proponents of the Ethereum network. After the upgrade, the 1559 upgrade, that would create this deflationary tendency within the Ethereum network. It has created some major headwinds when it comes to Ethereum adoption, and the overly anticipated Ethereum 2.0. Any upgrade towards that is very, as they say, bullish towards the price, because a lot of people expected Ethereum to dump after the upgrade, but as Ethereum 2.0 hopefully gets closer and closer, there's a lot of people delegating their 32 Ethereums, taking it away, locking it away, so which reduces the sell pressure. And because of this new proposal that encourages this deflationary nature, when you add increased demand and reduced supply, it creates some major headwinds with the price. And of course, USD Tether stablecoin, the Binance coin has been doing really well, and that's not surprising because of the adoption in different countries and the DeFi surrounded around the Binance smart chain. So we know DeFi is predominantly on the Ethereum network, but because the fact is, Binance has been the other network to really infiltrate the market as far as DeFi is concerned, as far as mirroring what Ethereum does. And the adoption on the Binance Smart Chain was really easy. It was made easy by the fact that you could leverage the MetaMask wallet, and also at the same time, the fact that the fees are very low now, and the fact that there's interoperability with other coins, and generally the network is faster and less congested. But some could argue it's a bit centralized. That's why that is happening. But however, the Binance Smart Chain is doing whatever it's doing, and different nations out there, people cannot afford to pay all the Ethereum gas fees, all the underlying Ethereum gas fees currently. So naturally, most of the attention, a lot of the activity has to naturally float to a chain that is more affordable, that people can use. So in others, when you go down the line, Cardano, we have Charles Hoskinson recently announced a recent important upgrade on the Cardano network, which puts it closer to being a blockchain network that supports smart contracts. We have XRP, they're still entangled with the ACC. Dogecoin, who knows what's happening with Dogecoin, no one's pumping it. And we're seeing the general market being in the green, which is quite exciting. Now, let's jump right into what I want to talk about today. So let's look at this first article, the Senate Wars, the infrastructure bill, and Janet Yellen against Bitcoin. While a proposal to increase tax obligations to Bitcoin actors brews in the Senate, Yellen lobbies against Bitcoin in the background. Now, I'm going to just read a part of this article to try and put things into context. So in July, the White House and Senator Rob Portman agreed a proposal that would require increased tax obligations for Bitcoin brokers, in quotes, we shall expand on that later, as a means to help fund the bipartisan infrastructure bill. However, the dubious definition the deal brings on what a broker would be in the Bitcoin network spurred criticism and revolt. Under the original proposal terms, developers for free open source software in the Bitcoin space, Bitcoin miners, node operators, and hardware wallet manufacturers would be considered brokers and thus demanded to abide by the new requirements. So you guys, you can see why that would be extremely difficult. This is cutting at the core of these technologies. We're looking at the programmers, the miners. And when I talk about Bitcoin miners, we are talking about the general crypto, whatever other cryptocurrencies out there that requires mining, that requires staking, that requires, decentralized parties to keep running nodes, computers to keep running nodes in a decentralized manner. All these people, if they're within the United States, operating within the United States, they're required to report all kinds of transactions. For example, if you're a miner or if you're a developer, you're required to somehow have information about everyone that uses your platform. Now, everyone that's in the cryptocurrency space knows how impossible that is. So if such a bill is passed, essentially it will stifle all kinds of innovation. It will stifle any kind of, and anyone that would really want to move out of the US and go do their business elsewhere, if they're completely hindered by such a bill in terms of focusing on payment of taxes because some narrative is being pushed, it generally drives out innovation. So now the purpose of this bill apparently is to raise $1 trillion. It's called the infrastructure deal, and they're planning to milk taxes from all avenues, from all corners, and including cryptocurrencies in the way they've included them is very counteractive, at least when you look at the narrative of cryptocurrencies. So one thing we want to look at here was some senators opposed the proposal, devising amendments. So the proposal was rebuked by Wyden, Senator Patrick Toomey, and Senator Cynthia Lummis, who pushed an amendment intended to prevent the Biden, well, guys, this is not a political channel, so the wording in this article is just the wording in this article, intended to prevent the Biden administration from applying the new rules to such a wide range of actors in the Bitcoin network. So we saw some senators standing up against this bill. Now, something you have to note, because this article started with this, the Treasury, who's Janet Yellen, and then we can see here something interesting. Besides not understanding 1% of what Bitcoin is, Yellen has gotten her own share of controversies. She's been making millions in corporate speeches on Wall Street in the past 2 years. Such speaking fees have been paid by large corporations including Citi, Goldman Sachs, Google, City National Bank, UBS, Citadel LLC, Barclays, Credit Suisse, and Salesforce. So we can, from that alone, we can tell that the person that was firstly against this bill, that couldn't wait to be against this bill, of course there's some controversy attached to them. That controversy is affiliated with very big institutions, very big banks. But we'll leave that at that. So we can see another article here about that Senate advances infrastructure bill without amending crypto provisions, which means those amendments that were proposed by the other senators that, hey, let's exclude a certain portion of this bill because we do not know what we're legislating, and such that, for example, requiring the developers, the miners, the node validators. And I think what this bill has done, okay, let's just read the first paragraph here. The US Senate voted to advance a $1 trillion infrastructure bill without amending a provision that broadens cryptocurrency tax reporting requirements. So that is the problem that has been going on, that it continues to go on within the US. And as regards this kind of legislation, it's not very conducive when it comes to innovation in the crypto space. It's not very conducive for a technology that's just starting out. And it's frankly very scary when you look at the situation in China and how they're clamping down on the miners. So there's that exodus happening from China with the Bitcoin miners because China is very protective of their sovereign currency and their sovereign status quo. Now, that exodus that was really naturally migrating to countries like the US, I imagine Canada, and maybe other European countries. I'm not too sure about Canada. Maybe other European countries that might be a bit more conducive or they might have those environments. You cannot run these things if you're required to meet the same requirements as a company that's fully registered as a financial instrument, as a financial company. So it means every individual person out there can literally be a broker. If you send Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies from one person to another, and you're required to report every single transaction, you're required to know every single person you're dealing with, and people that have dealt in cryptocurrencies really know that it's almost impossible. Even just as a user, but not as a developer. So I think we've looked enough into that. That's the premise. That's the brief premise. That's the, in a nutshell, the what that bill is all about. Trying to raise $1 trillion. And in trying to do that, let us clamp down on this new technology by completely taxing it out of oblivion, because there's some certain powers that be that probably feel threatened by cryptocurrencies. So the last thing we want to look at, Circle plans to become a full reserve national digital currency bank. Now, for those that do not know Circle, Goldman Sachs, we've actually looked at we just looked at Goldman Sachs, which is one of the biggest financial institutes within the United States. Now, Goldman Sachs backed digital. Now, this is the controversy. Now, you have all this happening on the side, which is very controversial. Banks being scared, financial institutions being scared. Now we see here Goldman Sachs backed digital payment company Circle has officially disclosed plans to become a full reserve national digital currency bank in the United States. Now, there's one important thing you have to note here. Circle is known as the principal developer of USDC, which is one of the biggest stablecoins. Now, the world's second largest stablecoin by market capitalization, after Tether, USD Tether. At the time of publication, USDC is the 8th largest cryptocurrency with a market value of $27.8 billion, while USD Tether holds nearly $63 billion in market capitalization. Now, the point I wanted you guys to note about this was the fact that Goldman Sachs backed digital currency payment Circle, which is one of the biggest stablecoins out there in the cryptocurrency space, is trying to become a fully public company. So now what's even interesting is the last part of this article. So the news comes shortly after Circle filed a registration statement on Form S4 with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, providing a preliminary statement and prospectus regarding its planned listing through a merger with Blank Check Farm Concord Acquisition under the terms of the agreement. So there's Concord involved now. So there's a merger with Concord, and a new Irish holding company will acquire both Concord and Circle and become a publicly traded company that is expected to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So you see how they're doing that. There's Concord, which is merging with Circle, and there's an Irish company that's going to acquire the result of this merger and then become public. So these other companies become public through this Irish company. At least that's how I understand it. Now, stablecoin firm Circle to go public in $4.5 billion blank check deal. Now, remember the blank check deal with Concord? That deal was worth at least $4.5 billion. And then lastly, we look at this article. MasterCard partners with Paxos, Circle stablecoin platforms for crypto to fiat conversion. Yesterday, I talked about Paxos and its affiliation with Binance. We looked at Paxos partnership with MasterCard, and we looked at another company which I can't remember, which was called Alchemy Pay, which is not the same as the Alchemy platform. So Alchemy Pay partnered with Visa, and there is a connection between Paxos and MasterCard, and there is a connection between Binance as well. So we see these connections between Paxos, MasterCard, Visa, one of the world's biggest exchange, Binance, and their stablecoin. And yet at the same time, these companies are largely operated or governed, or their headquarters are probably within the United States. Do not quote me on that, but they have major affiliations with the United States. But then at the same time, we see this legislation that's not really at par with some of these things. So what I'm trying to bring out in this video is that sometimes we need to look beyond the surface. We need to take everything with a grain of salt, and not to mention the fact that this legislation, no matter how hindering it is, as long as it's not passed yet, it opens doors to conversation. It allows conversation. It allows the powers that are in charge of this, the senators, the politicians, to learn more about this space, to understand exactly what they have before them, what they're regulating, and to have deeper knowledge of what this space is about in order to formulate legislation that is not only just favorable for this space, but in a way, I guess, putting together the protective measures they want to protect for whatever, maybe institutions or their high-level clients or whatever, but still maintaining the free, laissez-faire, free market type of nature of the cryptocurrency space without really hindering innovation and taking away the very thing that makes cryptocurrencies what it is. So guys, that's all I wanted to talk about in the video today. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, and I hope to see you on the next one, guys. Bye bye.